and bail us back to a growing economy. President Donald Trump created the greatest economy in American history, and we're doing it again. I mean, I don't know if you saw them, but how about those new GDP numbers that came out this week? Man, the American economy grew by more than 33% in the third quarter. It shattered any previous record by far. The great American comeback is on. And with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House, we're going to bring this economy back bigger and better than ever before. You know, as President Trump said yesterday, that third quarter GDP was the biggest in history. He said, not even close. And the next year is going to be our best year ever. You know, this great American comeback, I think the president would be the first to say, is a testament to the character, the resilience, and the strength of the American people. But it's also a tribute to a president and to our allies in the Congress who worked to create the greatest economy the world's ever known. It's amazing to think, as we stand here today, just 3 days before an election, that Joe Biden actually wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion in the midst of a global pandemic. He's got a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal. And he wants to put a public option in the middle of Obamacare and reimpose the taxes of Obamacare on the American people. President Trump, by contrast, we cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses. We rolled back more federal regulation than any administration in history. We fought for free and fair trade, unleashed American energy, and in 3 short years, businesses created 7 million good-paying jobs, including 250,000 jobs right here in the Tar Heel State. I mean, in those first 3 years, North Carolina saw its lowest unemployment rate since the Great Recession and highest home ownership ever. And in a state where manufacturing is so important, you know, I always feel right at home in North Carolina because it reminds me of the Hoosier State where I'm from, you know. Where we come from, we do 2 things really well. We make things and we grow things, right? But y'all deserve to know, when Joe Biden was vice president, America lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And the last president, who I see is back out on the campaign trail, remember the last president? He said those manufacturing jobs they lost were never coming back. Remember, he asked, "What magic wand do you have?" Or we didn't need a magic wand. We just needed President Donald Trump in the White House. 500,000 manufacturing jobs created in just 3 years, including 13,000 right here in North Carolina. Manufacturing is back. I'm telling you. And trade is so important to what we make and what we grow. But you all also deserve to know that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with one country, Communist China. And Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for Communist China all along the way. President Trump, he put China on notice. He said the era of economic surrender is over. We imposed tariffs on China, and we're going to keep standing firm until they open their markets to what we make and what we grow and respect the private property rights of Americans. I like her. You know, closer to home, though, you all remember NAFTA, right? I mean, out where I come from, we literally saw in the 25 years from when NAFTA was signed into law, we saw thousands of factories shuttered and jobs moved south of the border. I mean, 4 years ago, after we won the election, I went back home to Indiana and heard that a company that had been in Indiana for 75 years was shutting their doors and moving south of the border to Mexico. Now, Democrats like Joe Biden used to like to spend a lot of time complaining about NAFTA, you remember? Saying how bad it was, but they never lifted a finger to do anything about it. But when the man who wrote The Art of the Deal got to the Oval Office, North Carolina and America got a way better deal. NAFTA is gone, and the USMCA is a huge win for North Carolina and America. I mean, there's estimates that we're going to sell another $2 billion more in agricultural exports alone to Canada and Mexico. It is a huge win for this great state. And you all deserve to know not just Joe Biden's record of doing nothing, right? But you also deserve to know something about his running mate. You know, I had a little debate with Kamala Harris in Salt Lake City a couple of weeks back. Thank you. It's quite a night. But I tried to point out then that Kamala Harris was one of only 10 senators to vote against the USMCA. I mean, here's a trade deal that puts our manufacturers first, that puts our agriculture first. It's a huge win for North Carolina. Kamala Harris voted against it because she said it didn't go far enough on climate change. I mean, Kamala Harris put her radical environmental agenda ahead of North Carolina jobs and North Carolina farmers. But I promise you, President Donald Trump and I will always put North Carolina workers and North Carolina farmers first. And on energy, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris spent the whole last, didn't they, Dan? They spent the whole last year talking about how they want to ban fracking and abolish fossil fuels. Now, they started to say different now. They're starting to go, presidents in Pennsylvania all day today. So they've been going to Pennsylvania. They've been starting to say, hey, actually, no, we're not, and this and that, right? I mean, and then in the presidential debate last week, how well did President Trump do in that presidential debate, everybody? Was that great?